This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states or situations.
Mary Newell started running at 55, now at 75, and with over 70 marathon medals hanging on her wall, she's here to share this one life-changing message. You can do anything. Hi everyone, I'm Barbara, and this is Age Better. So what happens when two women who started running later in life, one at 50, one at 55, end up side by side at mile 3 of the New York City Marathon? Well, for these two, it turned into hours of laughter, talking about music, life stories, and the beginnings of a friendship that is still going quite strong. My guest today is Mary Newell, a clinical psychologist, endurance runner, and all-around badass who, at 75, is still running races of every distance, some of which will make you say, well, what the heck? Mary and I share plenty of laughs as we look back at that unforgettable New York City Marathon in 2022 and talk about what running has taught us about motivation, resilience, and pushing our bodies and minds just a little bit more. This conversation has some great reminders that you are never too old to start something new, never. And that sometimes the best races aren't about the finish line at all, but about who you meet and what you learn along the way. Okay, everyone, get ready to age better. Mary, welcome back to Age Better.
Oh, it's so fun to be here.
It's so fun. Oh my gosh, I was
We're
really
wearing
looking
our twin shirts.
We are. Let's go like that so everyone can see 2023
Yes.
New York City Marathon. And we ran that marathon together.
At 100 degrees and 100% humidity.
I believe it was the hottest New York City Marathon on
ever.
record?
I think it is. I think it was on record.
Certainly was right up there in the top 3, if not top
Yes.
2. Certainly, yeah. Everybody said that.
And they ran out of water.
They did. We could not believe that.
In several stations in the higher mileage numbers where you really need the water and the sun, because we started at 11:30. We were in the last wave. So that was just before it was full sun. So we ran the whole thing with that sun beating down on us, and they ran out of water at several stations.
Yeah. And we still power through because you know why? We are
we're tough.
two badasses. We are bad, but you're a bigger badass than me, and we're going to get to why I'm saying that now.
But you remember when we were going, at one point, you and I were running, and I just kind of glanced over at you, and we had that Xena warrior princess, kind of your shoulders slightly forward looking. And it's like, look at us looking like we own this street. That was going up First Avenue.
That was going up First Avenue because we did own the street.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone, a little background here of how I met Mary. I started the Bone Health and Osteoporosis Foundation, Be Bone Strong, New York City Marathon team in 2017. That was our first team. And then there was a little break, of course, during COVID. And then we started up the team again. And so I always put it out there on social media and whatnot that we have a team. And so Mary Newell here applied to be on the team. And so, of course, I said, yeah, look at her. She's so adorable. I said, yes, of course, join our team. And so that was for 2023.
Right.
And at that time, not only was I the team captain, but I was also still running the New York City Marathon. I haven't run it since 2023. That was my last marathon, Mary, was with you.
Oh,
Isn't that amazing? So it's a very, very special marathon. So here's what happened. Mary and I were in the same wave, meaning we were starting at the same time. And, we said our hellos and everything. And then usually people, when they're running a marathon, they kind of, quote unquote, have their own race, right? You do your own race.
Right.
You may start with somebody, but if you're not keeping up with each other, you might go on. And that's kind of the mindset. But anyway, so Mary and I kind of like go on. I don't even think we were in the same corral. We were in the same way, but like we didn't start in the same corral. Right. So somewhere, I want to say it was maybe about 2 or 3 miles in to the race.
It wasn't that long after the bridge.
Right.
So that's 2 miles. When you come off the bridge,
Correct.
You're at mile 2 going into Brooklyn. So it was right about there that we connected and I said, you want to do it?
Yeah. And then we just stuck together for the rest of that marathon. And it was slow going because, as Mary just said, it was so hot and so humid. And they ran out of water, which is like unbelievable, really. But we stuck together. And I really, looking back, as I often do, looking back at that day and the hours that we spent together.
6 hours.
6 hours together. Think about that. We talked about running, for sure, training, our backgrounds, music. We both agreed, Mary. What did we agree? We agreed that they just don't make music like they did in the late 60s and early 70s.
No, they're not going to be singing these songs 40 years from now. Like we're still singing My Girl. And what was Mick Jagger's first song? What was that? Satisfaction. I can't get no satisfaction. I mean, those. But we talked about and sang a little bit of.
We did. We sang. We
took pictures with the firemen.
Oh my gosh, so many photos. Really, really, really great photos. Everyone, I'm going to post those photos back on when I start to promote this episode. So take a look on my Instagram and Facebook and you'll see the photos. So much fun. And we really have some great shots of us that New York Roadrunner took of us really looking like warriors, warrior women. We really did.
Yeah.
We kept going and we felt great afterwards. But it was a wonderful day.
Remember, was that when we went into the Bronx? Were we coming off the Queensboro Bridge at some point? No, maybe. What's the bridge at the top of First Avenue?
Yes, it is the. You mean when you're getting onto First Avenue, the 59th Street Bridge?
No. After you go up First Avenue, you have a bridge up there.
I know. What is it called? Oh my God.
Is that the Manhattan Bridge or what? I don't know. But anyway, who can remember all the names? But at one point, we were the only ones running. Everybody was, or was that the Queensboro? It might have been the Queensboro, but we were the only ones running.
Yeah, it was a weird thing. Like all of a sudden we were, and that's a very quiet spot.
Right.
There were no spectators, so it was quiet. And that's a tough spot, right, Mary? I mean, you've run it many times. We'll get to how many times you've run it in a minute, but it's a very tough part of the race because there are no spectators to cheer you on. And for some odd reason, there was like this gap of people around us. And we were like, what? What's happening here?
Well, the Queensboro Bridge is always so weird because all the noise of Brooklyn. And then you get onto the bridge, which is mile 15. So, kind of all of that adrenaline and excitement has worn off. Yeah. And you've got a mile climb on the Queensboro Bridge. There's a Peloton instructor who describes it. She says, all you hear on the Queensboro Bridge are the sounds of footsteps and desperation.
And a lot of people cursing. I won't say the curse words.
It's like, it's so quiet and you can hear the breathing because that's all there is, and it's like, oh God, please let me get off this bridge. Let me just get,
and then to make matters not worse. I mean, it's just a different part of the experience, but then you get onto First Avenue, which is great because you've got zillions of people on First Avenue lining First Avenue. It's like a party. It's like a big, a big block party, but it's insidious.
Yeah. I always say running onto First Avenue is like you're Tom Brady running into the Super Bowl. I mean, the way the crowds are just like, I mean, you're a star for a day. That's what I love about New York City Marathon. For one day, you are a star. Everybody is screaming for you, cheering for you. And if you have your name,
It's so Mary.
Yeah.
And listen to me, everyone. I'll never forget this. The day that we ran the New York City Marathon together 2 years ago, and 2 years and 1 week, because we are recording this, everyone, 1.5 weeks before the 2025 New York City Marathon, which, of course, Mary is running it again.
Yeah.
This is before the marathon. But the amazing thing is that, oh my God, I completely lost my train of thought.
Well, you were going to say something. I think I know what you're going to say about once you come on to First Avenue, you got to hold back because those crowds are just screaming for you and you want to speed up just to run into their arms, basically. I mean, there's so much love and, I hug people and maybe I hold them a little too long.
You are a riot. I cannot tell. Now, Mary did have her name. She had her name, Mary, spelled in big capital letters on her shirt. Okay. And she was wearing the Bone Health and Osteoporosis Foundation shirt, as was I. And I will post a photo of that as well. But anyway, so she had her name. I cannot begin to tell you because she just looked so cool. She had on a very colorful headband. She had on these incredibly colorful running pants. And she's gorgeous. So she really stood, and she seemed like a warrior. So she really stood out. And I mean, they were like sort of, oh, Barbara, yay, but Mary. And I can't begin to tell you how many people you knew. Like there were people on the court, like you knew people. I mean, that's a whole nother thing because of your zillions of races.
Yeah, but there's not a race that I do that I don't know somebody there, no matter where it is. There's always going to be somebody. And so, even of the people I know who are going to be there, there's going to be, aren't you Mary? Remember we met at someplace else. So the circle just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And I love that. That's also another perk of this whole running world is I've met so many people all over the world. And I'm still in touch with so many of them.
So many people.
Yeah.
If you recall, before the marathon that we did together, we did a training run in Central Park. It was, I believe it was with my Galloway group. It was like the last 10 miles.
Yeah, we did the last 10.
Wasn't it that one?
Right.
And so we're running in Central Park, and then all of a sudden we hear, Mary! Someone just walking in Central Park, and it was someone you had met, I believe, in a
Comrades.
race.
It was Comrades.
Exactly, in South Africa.
Yeah. Right.
That's quite okay, I just want to know, Mary, how many New York City marathons have you run?
This will be my 9th New York City Marathon. 3 of them I ran as an Achilles guide. So, and that was back when you didn't get a bib if you were a guide. You just got a thing saying guide. But now they give bibs, so it counts. But the 3 I did back then. So it's my 9th one. This is my 6th one on my own.
Got it. And you do always, from what I could see, run for a charity, right?
Well,
usually
one time I time qualified, and I never got a draw, so I must have run. All the rest of them must have been for charity because I did time qualify once.
Incredible! That's incredible. Yeah. Okay, and so do you remember this? How many total marathons? So let's put the ultras aside for a moment and the zillions of shorter races, half marathons and the like. How many marathons have you run to date? About.
It's got to be around 70. Because there was a time when I started running, I was going to run the Disney World Marathon in January of 2009. So I signed up for it months before because you had to do that for Disney World.
You're talking about the Dopey?
Yeah, but I only did Disney World the marathon that first time. Then I went back and did Dopey, and then I went back and did Goofy.
I did Dopey with my daughter.
Yeah.
It's pretty dopey.
The best. I want to do it again. We should do it together. Okay. But anyway, so I was signed up for January 2009 for my first marathon, but 2008 was when Obama was running for president, and I was on one of the groups, Runners for Obama. And they decided in August, and this was how Chicago Marathon was back then, they decided in August that they wanted to run the Chicago Marathon to raise money for the campaign.
Yeah.
So, of course, I had to do that. So I figured I would run Chicago for Obama. And if I didn't feel like doing Disney World, so be it. But I had to do that one. And it also took the pressure off because I was starting to get a little crazy thinking all the way to January and
Yep.
that. So, you know,
Yes.
that put a cap on it. So I ran Chicago and I felt good. So I ran Disney World. But after I finished Chicago, I felt so good. I called a friend of mine and she had done the Venice Marathon. And so I called her and said, how did you arrange that? And she said, you know, check Marathon Tours. And so I went to Marathon Tours and they had a calendar of race vacations. And I saw the Great Wall. You know, that I was not looking for Venice. You know, I had just like, I'm going to do the Great Wall of China. So I signed up for it. That was the May. So I did Chicago in October, Disney in January, and in May, I did the Great Wall of China. And one of the questions you'd asked me is, which one was the most difficult? I think was that, did you ask me which one
I
was
didn't
the most
ask you
difficult?
yet. It's coming up.
But the Great Wall is by far, you know, it was just the climbing and parts of it, you know, not only are you climbing, you can't see the top as you're, it's like people are running into heaven, you know, it's
Oh
like
my
you
God.
cannot see where they're going. And there are parts of it where you're holding on to like an iron railing, and on the other side is free fall. I mean, it's like, you know, it was the scariest marathon I have ever done. And that was only my third. Chicago and Disney are flat, totally flat.
Totally flat.
And
That's
the
why everybody
Great
loves
Wall,
Chicago.
The Great Wall was like, and I knew nothing about running hills or, you know, I mean, I trained doing some steps and stuff like that, but it was nothing. And it was, but, you know, the morning after, and I, you know, I put my hand on the Bible to say this, I woke up and my first thought was, I can do anything. And that's what I got from that. I can, because I had done it. And you had to go back over, you know, you go over the wall for 3.5 miles and then you go to these little villages and on goat paths and all that. Then you have to come back that same 3.5. So you have to do it at the end when you are dog tired. They had no food back then because there's no place to set up, you know, the tables and stuff like. They had said, bring your own provisions. So I brought goo. That's all I, you know, that's my idea. That's what, isn't that what runners take to races, goo? You know?
That's your idea of provisions.
You know, and it
Oh my
was
gosh.
nothing.
And
I
was
mean,
your
I was so
hotel
hungry.
far from the start and the finish?
It was, well, it was on a bus.
Oh,
We
gosh.
had to take a bus there. But you know what? Our hotel was across from a mall. And when I came back to go over the wall again, there was a guy who turns out was from Australia sitting there, you know, it's like, he knows, you know, he's good. And so I just sat down next to him and he said, all I can think about is a Big Mac and fries. That's all, you know, he was, and, you know, we just, and I said, oh, that sounds so good. And we talked, and I said, and a strawberry shake, because that used to be my, back when I was a kid, the Big Mac fries and a strawberry shake. And we took, and then we took off and we eventually finished. When I got back to the hotel, I went across the street to the mall and got my Big Mac fry, because there was a McDonald's.
Of course they had one there.
And it tastes.
I wonder if that guy from Australia, you know, was there.
If I'm in a city, you know, I'll go to whatever restaurant, but I always want a hamburger after a marathon, you know,
Yes.
the hamburger and fries. But, you know, I do that McDonald's thing, you know, just, there's something
It was
about
perfect.
it.
It was like the perfect
Yeah.
food. Salty, some protein, a little carbs.
Childhood memories.
Childhood memories. Childhood. Okay, let's get to this now. You started running. You and I have a lot of similarities. One is we both started running in our 50s. I started running at 50.
Yeah.
You started running at 55. Tell us about that. What made you decide to start running when you did? Like, what was on your mind?
It really wasn't a decision. I was still in that period of trying to get on top of the weight. I had been going to this particular gym at that point for like about 3 years, and I was doing it was a Gold's gym, so,
Yeah.
tough. But it was also the one closest to my house. So,
Told you, badass.
I had to guarantee that I could, and I did the same thing to go early in the morning. And, so I did all of the cardio equipment. They had the recumbent bike, the Stairmaster, regular bike, and the treadmills. And I would walk really fast on treadmills. Occasionally, somebody would be running on the treadmill. But at that point, was convinced I was not a runner. I had tried a couple of times, and it was just so hard. I tried with other people, and it was so hard. And I just thought, I'm not a runner. And I wasn't an athletic kid. I didn't try. So that day, it was in January. I don't remember the date, but it was in January. I was on the treadmill, and I also felt like I was still losing the battle of the weight.
Yeah.
It's like
Never
I
a good
kept
feeling.
adjusting what I would consider an acceptable weight up. Well, and
Not
then,
a good
if I wear
feeling.
the mediums and they're blousy, But anyway, that morning I was on the treadmill and I was walking really fast, and I still do not know what got into me, that I just turned the knob and I started running. And I didn't turn the knob, baby,
On
so
the
I couldn't
treadmill.
have been running fast. But, somebody pointed out that was the first time I was pacing myself, because the other times I had tried to run, I tried to run with guys, and it was like, oh, I can keep up, and I was running with them as opposed to that morning. I was just, because if that was the thing, it felt so easy. I was like running. So obviously I was going at my own pace, which who knows? I wasn't even paying attention to mileage, and it was the idea, and it felt good. I was running and it felt good. And so I finished up my time because they had the treadmills locked. You could only get like a half hour on it. And then you had, because,
Had to give
so
it up.
everybody could get
Yeah.
to use them. Yeah. So, that whole day I went to work, and the whole day I kept thinking I had actually run, and it felt good. So the next day I went back and did it again. And after that, I started running on the treadmill, and I continued. Then one day, this friend of mine who went there, Ken, said to me, have you ever thought about doing a race? And I'm looking at him like, what are you talking about? And he said, if you can run for a half hour on the treadmill, you can do a 5K.
Yeah.
And so, I thought, 5K race. I don't have one of those on my list of things I've done. And that was, so I thought, oh, yeah, sure. Okay, I'll do it. And then I had to go home and find out how far 5K was. And the whole idea of like 3.1 miles sounded like far. But anyway, I had
Isn't
said
that
I was
funny?
going to do it. So it was, then I saw something for the Labor Day Road Race, which is the big race in New Haven. And they also have the 20K championships. So we get all the elite runners here. Connor Mantz won it this year, who just got the first American, he broke the American record at the Chicago Marathon. I just saw him Labor Day with his
Oh, that's
wife.
incredible.
But anyway, so I signed up for the Labor Day Road Race, and then I started telling everybody. And I think I had a couple months from the time I signed up to when I called all people I hadn't talked to in years, told all my family, all my friends, everybody I ran into in the store, whatever, I was like, I'm going to run the Labor Day 5K. I had to make it real. I didn't want to be able to back out.
Isn't that interesting? I did the same thing, so I completely appreciate what you're saying. You let everybody know, so therefore you had to do it. It was an accountability thing.
Yeah, I had to, even though I thought I was going to die, or I might just totally lose my mind somewhere on the course. That was the thing I was really afraid of. But I had committed to doing it. And so was there at the start looking like, what in the hell am I
Like,
doing?
what did I do? Right? What in the world did I do?
Yeah. Why did I say I would do this? And this woman, all I remember is that she was a nurse and she was so nice. And she asked me if it was my first race. And I said yes. And so she talked to me and told me about another race, a 10K in Boston, a women's race, like the next month or something. She said, you might want to think about that, but 10K might be a bit far for you. But she said, there's a book that was so helpful to me when I started running. And she said, it's called The Courage to Start by John Bingham. And I remembered the title of that book. I didn't have a pencil or paper or anything. Because when I finished that race, and I was just like amazed, once the race started, all my fears, I just took off and I ran and I kept running. And before I know it, I'm looking and saying, is that the finish area? It's like, because I hadn't seen it. I'm going, that can't be the finish, because I didn't believe that I had done that. And it didn't seem like it had been that long, even though I didn't have a watch on. It didn't seem like it had been that long. It's like, that can't be the finish area. What if it's not? And I'm running the whole time. What if it's not the finish area? What if I stop there and they say, oh, the finish area is, around over on Chapel Street. So, so I ran a little bit past it and somebody told me, you can stop now. And what was so funny? What was so funny?
That's great.
This woman came up to me afterwards and said, you were my motivation today. And I look at her and go, what are you talking about? She said, I followed you the whole way. And I said, this is my first race.
Maybe you should have followed someone else. No,
Yeah.
she followed the right person.
She said, your pacing was good. But anyway, so I left and went to McDonald's first and then to Barnes & Noble, because they're right there, right across from each other. Got my food, went to Barnes & Noble, and they had the book. I came home, and I remember The Courage to Start. I came home and started reading. And this is why I attribute my becoming a runner to John Bingham, because he told me I already was. He said,
Oh,
if
I
you
love that.
run, you're a runner. I hadn't even thought, I had run a race. I was not thinking of myself as a runner. But John Bingham said, if you run, you're a runner. There's no admissions test, no required number of miles or speed. If you run, you're a runner. And so I claimed it, and I had finished the race. So obviously I was a runner.
You were a runner. Yes, you were. I can't tell you how many people I encounter, especially those who are part of the Galloway Run, Walk, Run program, who feel, oh, I'm not a real runner because I take walk breaks.
No,
when that's
if
like,
you
no.
run, you're a runner. There is
Absolutely.
you can do it however you want. And well, you see now, everybody's getting on the Galloway method. I mean, Runner's World is talking, this is the smart way to run, do the run walk. Do you know what I did for the 12-hour endurance race?
Oh, well, let's talk about that. Let's go right to it. Okay. Recently,
a week and a half ago,
we've stayed in touch on social media primarily. Right. We see each other when we can over these last 2 years, but you live in Connecticut, I live in New York. But recently you ran this endurance race. Tell us about that, please, and then tell us what you did.
Okay, so I did the Hainesport 12-hour endurance race. And what that is there's a 0.99 mile loop around this park in Hainesport, New Jersey. And you run as many loops as you want in the 12 hours. And they have a 12-hour, a 24-hour, and they have a 48-hour, so that people can do whatever. And my friend Peter, who I was with, he was actually going for 100 miles, which would have been the 24-hour. But I trained for 6 months for that. And basically all it is just running a lot. Doing a lot of back-to-back long runs. I would do 5 and 6 hour back-to-back long runs that at the peak of it. So, but I love training. That's the thing. To me, the race is, that's the prize. But It's the process, the commitment that I'm sticking with something because I don't stick with things. Running has shown me that I can make a commitment. It's even when it's not fun, even when it's hard, even when it's pouring rain, even when it's 100 degrees with 100 degrees humidity. I can keep going. And that sense of achievement, I saw something through, I finished it, and look at the result. So anyway, so I trained for 6 months doing that. And so it started, of course, it was raining at the start, but thank God, so much of my training for this cycle had been in the rain because we had a lot of rain
A
for a
lot
lot
of
of
rain.
days.
Yes.
And
Yep.
I go out there regardless. I don't, well, let's wait till it lightens up or whatever, because you never know what's going to happen on race day. So it was raining in the morning. And so and the people were all so nice and friendly, and everybody had their tents, and chairs, and people were grilling. And of course, the food that the race had was they just kept.
So it wasn't like the Great Wall.
No, no, no. Every time you came past, and that was the thing, because it was only, a mile, you didn't have to carry anything because you would be back and, there was all the water, electrolytes, all, plus your own stuff. So I just kept running loops, and I didn't have a watch, so I wasn't sure exactly. I had the goal in my mind, literally, of 45 miles. That's what I wanted to do.
45 miles. So how many loops was that?
That was 46 loops.
Okay,
I wasn't even
okay.
thinking, but I wanted to get to 45 miles in 12 hours. So I just kept running. You talk to different people. I would run with Peter and the guy that we were kind of hanging out together. I talked to so many people. There were a lot of kids. I think there were 17 kids, 12 and under, who were doing, just to see. I mean, they were just,
Just to do part of it, not to, yeah.
do part of it, and that. And I would talk to some of the kids.
I have to ask you, so what, did you do Galloway? Is that why you brought it up now? You did?
Yes, I did. And what I did was I walked for 30 seconds and ran for 20. And that carried me the whole way. I never walked until that last loop, what turned out to be the next to the last loop, when I connected with Peter again, and it was a little before 8. He said, let's walk one loop together, and then we'll run 2, and then I'll go on. And that should have taken us up to like 9 o'clock. So it's okay. So we're walking, and all of a sudden I get this really sharp pain in my hamstring. And I go, oh God, please, not my hamstring, not my hamstring.
Yeah.
And,
bad timing.
I was kind of limping. I was leaning on Peter for ways. And so we walked that loop. We continued walking that loop, and we got to the mat, the counter mat. He kept going, and I went over to tell him I was signing out. So I go in and I tell the woman that was my last loop. And she goes, you've done 45 loops. All you need is one more to make 45 miles. She looks at the clock. She says, it's 8:38. I remember that specifically. She said, it's 8:38. You can do one more loop. And so I just took off.
Oh,
I didn't even.
Amazing.
And that was my 45 miles. And, my hamstring did not bother me at all. And I ran, and I think I ended up with like 8 minutes
to spare? Oh,
yeah. But it was like, I did it. And it's, once again, that feeling of, at 75 years old, I did a 12-hour race. I moved continuously.
Yeah. Everyone, I want to make sure you all heard that. Mary is 75.
Yes,
and
75.
She did this 12-hour endurance run at 75. This was just, a few weeks ago?
It was October 11th.
Yeah.
So, it was, it's not quite 2 weeks. It'll be 2 weeks Saturday.
And here you are. And do people ever ask you, like, Mary, we know you're a runner. We got that.
Mm-hmm.
You're a runner. You've done zillions of races and marathons, blah, blah, blah. Why did you do that endurance run?
To see if I could.
Yes.
To see if I could.
You know what else? I think if I were in your body, if someone asked me that, I would say, because I could.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you knew you could. That's why.
Yeah, actually, and there was
Because
never
I
any,
can.
at the start, there was no angst. Oh my God, what am I? It's like,
No,
there was never any of that.
I'm
I
sure of
had
that.
12 hours. I had 12 hours. It was up to me. I had the best time. I would laugh with people. It was just in the food.
And the
And I
food.
followed the other thing, which I give you some credit for this too, is I stayed topped off in terms of fueling and nutrition. So each hour I would have a gel.
Yep.
Maybe a quarter after I would have water. At the half hour, I would have food. At the next 45 minutes too, I would have an electrolyte drink. So, and I
Yes.
continuously did that the whole time. I was never like, oh God, I'm so thirsty, or, I'm feeling tired. So
Or too hungry or depleted.
I never bonked the whole time.
Just
So,
incredible. So I'm
yeah.
so happy to hear also that, in recent years, you've embraced the Galloway method in your running.
Yes, yeah. It's because I want to be able to continue.
Yeah.
My goal is to run until I can't, which I'm hoping is like
Never.
the day before I die.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if I keep doing this, I can do that.
Yes. Do you have any aches and pains? I mean, I really have to know. I'm asking because I did mention earlier that my last marathon was with you 2 years ago and a week and a half. And because I had a stress fracture that had to heal, and then it kind of made my knee, my knee arthritis a little bit more painful. And the doctors say, oh, you maybe shouldn't be running anymore. Of course, I'm going to hear that. And I am running, but I'm really running less, more walking, less running. And that's okay.
That's perfectly okay.
It was a mindset for me. I had to kind of embrace my new reality, which is that I have an added level of discomfort in my knee, right? And I'm managing it in different ways. But I do find that the Galloway method, whatever the ratio is, whatever your personal ratio it is, and it has to be whatever works for you, has helped me to continue to move in this way.
And you know what? I'm faster at that walk for 30, run for 20 than at any other.
30 and 20. I like that idea.
Yeah, it's fast.
Isn't that interesting?
So
when you and I did the marathon, I think that because I had been training.
We did 30-30. Didn't we do 30-30?
I think, well, then we switched to 30-30. I think it was 60-30, but then it got too hot. It was just too hot. So we went to 30-30. But I like that idea. So 30 and 20.
Walking.
I'm going to try that exact ratio.
Yeah. Try it and see what you think about it. But,
yeah, definitely. So you are running New York City this year.
Yes, I'm running New York City.
And you're running for which charity this year?
Team for Kids.
Team for Kids. Wonderful charity that's connected to the...
I'm going to be in the Parade of Nations.
Oh, yay!
It's these little things. It's these little things that mean so much.
Yes, of course.
Team for Kids put out this thing because they have a contingent in the Parade of Nations every year. And whoever of the people who are running this year for them for New York City, put your name in and, we'll draw. Yeah. And I was, out of 2,000, I think they have 20. Or something like that.
Something like that, like a small amount.
Yeah, but I got in, so I'm so excited.
Yeah.
So Friday night, I'll be there with all the international and the fireworks and everything.
Oh, it's a wonderful evening. I have to tell everyone.
Yeah, I'm getting the total New York City marathon experience.
You really are. Everyone listening, you may think a marathon is out of reach for you. I mean, it may be if you have some physical issue that truly would stop you from running that distance. It is 26.2 miles. We get it. But if you can walk, and if you can walk a little speedy, and if you're over, if you're basically, you can.
Yeah, you can do it. You don't have to run. And you know what? In this 12-hour endurance race, they have the 48-hour, and a lot of the ultras do that. So people who want to walk 100 miles, they have 48 hours to do it.
to do that.
They can do 100 miles. They can walk
Right.
100 miles in 48 hours.
Right. But you can add a little bit of running in, like
Right. Yeah.
Mary, what you're doing now, right? You're
Right.
kind of speed walking 30 seconds, and then you're kind of running for 20 seconds, and you have a timer. I know I have a
Yeah.
little timer on my phone and
I
my
have a
watch.
gym boss.
to
I have that
kinda-
little gym boss
a
thing.
little gym
Yeah.
boss. And, there are ways to do it.
But the thing is, when you look at the marathons, there's so many, the Achilles athletes. I
Yeah.
mean, there's that one guy, I've seen him at the Marine Corps Marathon. I don't know if I've seen him at New York. I mean, he doesn't even have limbs. I mean, he is like, he's scooting with a stump on one side. He's on this low. I mean, it's what you decide you want to do. These can be obstacles or they can be aids. They can help you or they can stop you. It's how you choose to use them. But the thing I did, what running has shown me, is never say I can't until I try.
Until you try.
Until I honestly try, not trying to keep up with some guys who've been running for like ever.
Yeah, that's never a good idea. I mean, Mary and I, again, we have similar backgrounds too. I too ran away when they were choosing team people for the volleyball team in school.
Yeah.
I didn't want anything to do with any of that. No sports, nothing. Like you, it's similar in that respect. We were, I hate to use the word late bloomers because that kind of indicates, oh, you were late to do it. I really believe, Mary, you and I, that this was the right time for us.
Yes, exactly. I was ready for a challenge, obviously.
Correct.
And how good I felt after crossing that finish line. That was just like, oh my God, it was like the best. But it was the whole thing. If I'd put in the effort, I'd stuck with the commitment, and I had achieved my goal.
Yeah.
And that's what all the training for each of these races. What does it take? And that's all you got to figure out a plan. You got to come up with a plan for how you're going to go about it. And if you follow the plan, you should be able to do it.
Yeah. And there's so much science now behind, like you were saying, how you keep ahead of your fueling while you're running, your hydration, making sure electrolyte, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's very easy to access this information now.
Right.
Because we know so much more. Like when you started running and like 20 years ago, right? And when I started running almost 20 years ago, I don't know, things were different. Like they didn't focus on strength training. Talk to us about not at all.
Actually, they were against strength training because they said if you build muscle, you won't be fast.
Yeah. And then you didn't want to overtax your lower body with strength training because then you'd be too tired to run. I mean, obviously, we think differently now. We know that the stronger you are, the stronger your muscles, the better.
And that strength training is so, I love strength training.
Talk to us about that because that's important.
It does help so much with running. And I lift heavy. You start where you are and you build. Don't go directly to heavy if you're not used to lifting, but continuing to add the weight. So I have a full body day and I have an upper body day and a lower body day. So there's 3 days of strength training. Now between the endurance race in New York City, I'll do some body weight strength, but I won't do any weights. I'm just trying to maintain for New York. So I'm doing lower mileage, but I'm running 4 times a week just to keep the body moving. But in a regular season, 3 days of weight training, core training for me, 5 days. It's only like 5 or 10 minutes, do a core. It's not like, but all of that stuff, some cross training, and of course the stretching, the mobility work. And particularly for us older, the joints get stiff. You got to keep them loose. I have found that as an older athlete, I have to do more rather than less.
Yep.
It's not like you will just do a few. No, it's do more. And I can do them. And so it's not like a chore. It's like, I love seeing what I can do. it's like, who are you? Look at you going up that hill like it's nothing, and stuff.
Do you ever go back to the John Bingham book to
Oh,
kind of
yeah, yeah.
refresh your motivation?
And he had so many tips, on how to start running, what to do at races. The one thing I remember and I still do is he says, when you get to race, there'll be a line to the porta potty. Get in line, use the porta potty, go to the back of the line, and keep doing that.
Wow, great tips.
And I mean, things like that were just like so helpful, and just.
Yeah. Hey, everyone, I'm going to put a link to the book in the show notes. If anyone is interested, if we've in any way, shape, or form motivated you to maybe consider running a marathon or even a half marathon, you may want to check that out. I also want to put in the link for the Jeff Galloway program.
Yeah. Right.
Check him out, check out his program. Okay, so how many days a week do you run now? Normally, not this week because you're tapering.
I run at normally 4. And what I added during this cycle was a half hour one day where I do hill sprints.
Yes.
Just for a half hour. And that's it. You got to do
only
them.
Once a week?
You got once a week for a half hour.
Yeah, you have to do that, especially if you're running New York.
Right.
Yeah.
The rest of my runs are mostly at an easy pace with, a few sprints thrown in during out, but most of my running is easy.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm curious, have you been able to maintain your time pretty much, or have you slowed down? Like, where are you right now compared to 5 years ago?
It varies. It varies all depending upon how much I've been running.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things, because I do so many races, and that's going to slow me down.
You kind of always in a state of training by just doing the races.
Yeah. I'm not as fast as I was. I can hit those speeds for 10 seconds or something like that. But, it's so much
hard to
work,
maintain.
I don't want running to be that hard.
Yeah.
I love the easy, but that's when I fell in love with running. And that's whenever, what's her name? Courtney DeWalter says that, you know who she is. She's the ultra woman who runs in the baggy shorts and she does 100, 200, 300-mile races and stuff. And she says,
marathoner.
Her favorite thing to do is go for long, slow runs and remember why she fell in love with running.
Yeah.
And that it just the easy sailing down the street, sailing up the trail. It's the best thing. It's the best feeling.
So I just want to know, we talked before about your hardest race, which was the Great Wall.
Yeah.
And incredible that you even went there at all and that you were on the wall. How many people can actually say that they've done that, let alone run it?
Yes.
2 times. 2 times. But what was your do you have a favorite? I'm sure there are so many that you love, but is there one that really stands out as this was one I just loved?
Aside from,
of course, I know it was the one with me.
We have to put New York in its own category.
Sure.
Because New York will always be the ultimate. But I would say that, and it wasn't that I had my best time on, but the most beautiful race is the Big Sur Marathon. It is just, and it's up Highway 101, the Pacific Coast Highway. You start in the Redwoods and, and on the left side, you have all these dramatic views of cliffs and the Pacific Ocean, and the climbs are crazy on that one too. And when you get off Hurricane Point, which is a really long climb, you're coming down into a canyon. There's a guy in the center of the canyon and a baby grand piano, and he's got tie and tails, and he's playing classical music. And it's, just coming off the canyon. And it's just like the most beautiful thing. But that's really hard. I think the one where I felt like everything really clicked was the Wine Glass Marathon up in Corning, New York.
Corning. Yep.
Have you done that one? It's a beautiful.
I signed up for it a few years ago, and Actually, I was supposed to do it, but then that's when I had my stress fracture, so I had to bow out. So I've never done it.
Yeah, but it's a beautiful course, more kind of rural and that, but it's an easy, I mean, it's rolling hills. And for some reason, everything clicked that day when I ran that. And it was like,
Mhm.
I knew everything was going just right. And I got a good time on that one too. So, but they all have a different reason that I like them for whatever. And, at first I said I would never do the Great Wall again, but there's a part of me that would like to go back and see what I can do now. Because that was just my third marathon in like 6 months,
Yes,
eight
yeah,
months of
really. I
running,
mean,
and I knew nothing about, and now, with 20 years, it would be like 18 years experience of
yeah.
running, that what would do, how I would approach it this time.
Certainly you would have more food on you to eat
Yeah, I would
afterward.
say.
Although maybe things have changed now. Maybe they've kind of caught up.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's such a popular one. But the thing is, so they would have to have the food like in the villages as opposed to on the wall, because there's still no place on the wall to set up
To put anything. Exactly.
tables,
Right.
and so
Yeah,
so you
that's
still
really
got to get
tricky.
over the wall twice.
Yeah, you still have to do that. So that
Yeah.
hasn't changed. So just so I know, I mean, I have running friends who have decided to, and some have already achieved this, to do a marathon or more in each of the 50 states,
Hmm.
as well as on every continent,
Hmm.
as well as all of the world majors. Now, up
Yeah.
until this year, 2025, there were only 6 world majors.
Hmm.
New York City Marathon, of course, being one. Chicago, which you've run, also another one. And then, a few others, Berlin,
Yeah.
London, Tokyo, etc. But this year, they added Sydney. And so for the
Right.
first time, the Bone Health and Osteoporosis
Yeah.
Foundation, Be Bone Strong, had a
Mm.
team for
Sydney.
Sydney, and we
Yeah.
will be there every
Uh-huh.
year now going forward. It was
Wow.
really, really great. I did not go this year because I went to India and it was too
Hmm.
close to each other,
Right.
but I will be going in 2026. Have you run Sydney?
No, I have not. And I spent.
Join the
I've been to.
team for
I've been.
2026.
I did that. I will not rule that out. I went to Australia twice for work. I did some seminars in Western Australia, and I've been to Sydney, and I would love to go back and run, because I wasn't running when I visited Australia. That was before 2000.
Got it. Okay. Okay. It was before. Everybody loved it. Just to give you a quick report on the
Yeah.
team, what their
Well,
feedback was,
Sydney is
they
so
loved it.
beautiful.
Yeah, they
Sydney is
loved the
so
city.
beautiful. Yeah.
They loved the race. It was a great day. So,
But guess what I'm going to do in January? I'm
oh,
doing the Marrakesh Marathon. Marrakesh.
didn't even know they had one.
We're going to ride the Marrakesh Express.
You'll have to be singing that song the whole way. Oh, wow, that's great.
Yeah, yeah. But I have been to Morocco twice also, and that was before I started running. The first time I did the capitals, Fez, Rabat, Casablanca. The second time I went back, I did the dunes. I never made it to Marrakesh. And while I was training for the endurance race, I got a notice from Marathon Tours that they still had some spaces for the Marrakesh Marathon. I thought, January,
not?
why not?
Oh, that's so
Yeah,
great. You'll have to
yeah.
come back on when you come back,
Yeah.
and just to report on how that was. I'm really curious. So I
Yeah.
want to know everything that you've talked about, how your feelings about running marathons and other races,
Mhm.
what motivates you, because either you want to know if you can or you believe you can.
Mhm.
It's like, how has all of this spilled over into the rest of your life, do you think? Resilience and everything.
All of that is the confidence. It's the knowing that just because I can't do something right now doesn't mean I can't do it. That I've got to figure out a way. And there is a way. that I can learn how to do whatever it is. Just because it doesn't work, so what? Look at what you did and see how you could do that differently. I think, and a part of this, I think, is being 75. I don't think there's too much that I would think, oh my God, this is it. I can't take that. I would be able to endure whatever. It might take some time. It might take some additional help in that, but nothing is going to blow me away. And there was a time, when you feel, oh God, if this happens, or if this happens. So it's just sort of like I can meet life on life's terms, on my terms. I can meet life on my terms, actually, as opposed to somebody else's.
So you think you've actually gotten tougher as you've gotten older?
Yes.
Oh, I think I have too. There's no
Yeah.
question. There's no question in my mind.
Yeah, that you have to be at this age to be running marathons. Are you kidding? Come on.
I know. Like, what are we? Very quick story. I don't know. I think you all listening in might have heard this already, so forgive me. But kind of in that framework of like, can I do this? And and you know the story, Mary, to celebrate my 60th birthday, which is in December,
Mm-hmm.
I ran, so this is 8 years ago. No, 9 years ago. I'm turning 69 next month or in December. So 9 years ago.
See, that's why we have to meet in December for lunch.
Exactly right. Yeah, that's right. That's right. And so New York City at that time, they've stopped it since COVID, which is really sad, had one ultra marathon. It was just called simply the 60K race.
The Saturday after Thanksgiving, right?
Exact. It was 2 weeks after the New York City Marathon. So that year, of course, I ran the New York City Marathon. And then I very quietly, in this case, I did not announce it to the world, Mary. Like we were saying before, we told everybody. Yeah. I was very quiet about it. I didn't tell anyone. I kind of told my husband. He was like, oh, yeah, really? You're not going to do that. Because here is what it is, everyone. You kind of like what you described with the endurance run, where you just go around and around.
Right.
So it was literally in Central Park, and you go around. It's a 6-mile loop. You go around and around
all of those
and around.
Hills. You're doing Cat Hill and Harlem Hill.
Until you hit 60K, which is roughly 38 miles.
I hate doing a half marathon in Central Park because you got to do it twice. It's 2 loops. That's a lot of loops.
Oh, wait. It was horrible. And it was cold and raining.
Of course. It's November.
It was a terrible, whereas the marathon 2 weeks earlier was a glorious sunny day, but then for the 60K. But I said to myself, you can do it. And someone said, why? Or I finally told someone I'm doing this. Why are you doing this? This sounds like torture. And my answer was, because I can. And that was my answer.
Exactly.
And I kind of have taken that, just to kind of answer the question I just asked you. I've kind of taken that approach to really almost everything in my life now, because I can.
Right.
And that's really helped me so much in my life. In a lot of areas, and I try to convey that to other people, and certainly to my 2 daughters. But anyway, okay, you know what? I have to ask you this. For people listening in, that right now, I think you have motivated a lot of people, maybe not to sign up for a marathon, but hopefully we did, but certainly maybe to start running, try running with some walk breaks, whatever works for you.
Or to find your hard, whatever that is, whatever that thing you think, oh God, that's going to take so much. But I've always I've been curious about, something, find it and go for it. Give yourself a chance. See what you can do.
So that's what you would say to people listening right now who are saying to myself, oh, listen to those 2 women talking. I could never do that. That's what you would say?
Yeah. But if you want to run, you can. But running is not for everybody. So find that whatever it is that you want to do, that you've always been curious about, whether, like, I wonder if I could write a book. I wonder if I could paint something. Start go take a class at the community college or an adult ed. Just do something to get started. And once you get started, you'll find what you need. Ask for help, submit things to people. What do you think of this? What do I need to do? I mean, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You can
That's
do
really the
whatever
bottom line,
you
isn't
want.
it?
You
You
have
can
to
do
want.
whatever the hell you want.
Right. You have to want it.
Oh, I love that. You are fearless. I've always said that about you. And I've always said you are a badass, a queen of badasses, as far as I'm concerned. So before we wrap up, Mary, and I really hate to end this conversation because it's too much fun, but you will be back soon because I want to have you back on after Marrakesh. But so what's next? We know the New York City Marathon. We know Marrakesh.
Okay.
Anything else coming or anything else that maybe not immediate, but like you really want to do?
Well, I have decided, and I decided this the day after the 12-hour, I'm going to do another 100-miler. I'm going to do one in New Jersey in September. What is the name of it? The Wild Goose. It's in some little town, and it's got a lot of climbs. I want to do another 100-miler
Wow.
just because. Now, the first 100-miler was flat. So this one
Okay.
has got
This is a little
climbs.
more
This one's got,
tricky.
yeah.
So when I did that 60K going
Uh-huh.
around and around Central Park that day, I had a few people join me, not people who were doing it themselves, but like for like 2 miles,
Uh-huh.
friends who would just say,
Yeah.
because Central Park
Yeah.
is in my backyard,
right.
basically. My really good friend Karen, she joined me for the last 8 miles. She
Oh,
wasn't intending to. She was good, and she's not a runner. That's the
what
funny
a
thing. She's not a
friend.
runner.
Wow.
Yes,
And she
yeah.
did 8
And it was
miles?
cold and wet and dark at that point.
That's a real friend.
It took me 8 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, it took me 8 hours.
But you did it. It doesn't matter. All you have
No.
to say is, I did the 60K in Central Park. Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Yeah, so I was going to say, so maybe if it's allowed, I'll come to New Jersey and I'll run a couple of miles with you on the course when you're going around the loop.
Yeah, well, a lot of them, and I think this one probably does allow pacers. So you can come and go do a couple. That would be great.
Yeah.
That would be so much
Yeah,
fun.
we'll figure that little detail out.
Yeah. So that's the next big thing.
That's the next big thing.
Yeah.
Okay, next. Oh, did you ever answer my question about the 50 states? I don't think so.
Well, actually, so I have done how many continents? I haven't done Australia or Antarctica. I've done all the other continents.
I think that's in your future, Mary. I think Sydney is in your future.
Yeah. And then the states, I don't keep track.
Yeah.
I think when you get into that, for me, getting into the 50 states and all that, it's like then you have to follow. I can't go here because I got to do West Virginia.
I hear you.
Or whatever. I want to do races wherever I want. In some races, I've done Big Sur 3 times. I've done some. I don't care. I just want to run. So
You just want to run and have fun.
I think I've done most of the states. I have a few I haven't done. If I get to them, I will. But if I don't,
That's not the goal. I hear you.
it's not driving me. And even though I'm in the 7 Continents Club with Marathon Tours, I haven't done. I think you had to have done 3 before you could get into the 7 Continents Club. So,
Wow.
but I still have Australia and Antarctica in terms of continents.
Yeah. I really do want to talk to you about Sydney.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
I'm thinking about it for next year.
Oh, we
So,
could do that one together. We
we'll
could
talk.
do that one together.
I know. That's exactly right. I know.
That would be great.
Yeah. All right, everyone, we're going to keep you posted if Mary and I are going to be 2 badasses running with, together in Sydney.
Put those shoulders forward.
Exactly right. All right. So, Mary, before I let you go, and I know you'll be back, what is that one piece of advice you really want to make sure everybody remembers from this conversation today?
Find something you can throw yourself into. Whatever that is for you, that you can you're willing to put the work in, put the effort in, because you want to see what you can do.
Mm-hmm. And just do it.
And just do it.
Because you
Because.
can.
Yes.
Because you can.
Exactly. Because if you want to do it, you'll be able to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Really. Getting older has offered so much, I think, to both of us.
There's so much wisdom. Really, there's so much wisdom.
It's so much wisdom. People don't get it until they're actually in it. So, yeah, everyone. All right, Mary, I know you'll be back. We will talk offline. We have a lot to talk about, especially about traveling to Sydney, Australia. And maybe that little thing happening in New Jersey soon. Yeah. And everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Talk to you next week. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. If you enjoyed this episode of Age Better Podcast, please do a few things. First, share it with all your friends and family. Then, subscribe to Age Better wherever you listen to podcasts, including YouTube, so you never miss a single episode. Finally, if you have ideas for topics you want me to cover in a future episode of Age Better, send an email to agebetterpodcast@gmail.com or reach out to me on social media. Until next time, remember this. We can't control getting older, but we can control how we do it. Talk to you soon. Age Better Podcast is a proud member of the Sound Advice Network. Sound Advice, women's voices amplified.